This is Tonight. I'm Bruce Whitfield and welcome to the show. Big screaming headlines this week about uncertainty with the new BEE codes. From the Department of Trade and Industry, the Chief Director of BEE, Takalani Tambani, joins me this evening. Why this uncertainty, Takalani? We've got the BEE codes which came into force on the 1st of May. It was a public holiday. And the industry, big business, the verification industry says it's complete chaos. Fair comment?
It's an unfair comment. Let me indicate that the codes of good practice were issued 18 months ago for public commentary, and then we gave the market at least 18 months for consultation processes and transitional period, and we got a lot of comments from the market, and eventually we then indicated that 18 months later the codes will come into effect, which is the 1st of May. And those public comments help us to get all the points and all the consolidation of the work. So now we are ready to hit the ground running. The codes are out for implementation. There was a small amount of work which was supposed to be gazetted, which was already gazetted. Already is out there for implementation.
But gazetted after the implementation of the codes. And that's one of the things that's been, I think, frustrating for business and certainly for the verification sector, has been the DTI doesn't seem to have its ducks in a row by the implementation date.
The point of the matter is that before the gazette for implementation is that there are a lot of thorough consultations which are being done. So it's not for the first time when the market is seeing these codes. So those codes were gazetted for consultation. People were made inputs and comments, and then eventually now we are issuing it for implementation. So they've been out for comment.
Are all of the codes now formally gazetted?
Absolutely, they are all
so
out.
Every single I is dotted and every T is crossed. Okay, so because that was one of the concerns, and how do you actually implement something that's not formally gazetted? So it's all done and dusted. Yes. The thing that's concerning the industry, though, is particularly a last-minute sneaky change, as it's being perceived, and that is the apparent elimination of broad-based BEE to go back to individual empowerment. Explain this to me, please.
On that point is a clarification of the existing principle in the code. What we are doing there, we're just clarifying that, remember, the intention of BEE has always been to ensure that there's value created in the hands of black people. Now, just to re-emphasize the point, so it's not changing any rules. The codes will remain as it is. That's the ownership element of the scorecard. All what we're saying is that, remember that the bulk of those points must be able to go to black entrepreneurs, black industrialists who are running the business on a day-to-day basis, as opposed to passive shareholding. Yes, we do cater for passive shareholders, like the broad-based schemes, like the employee share ownership schemes.
But they're less important now.
But for less points.
But why? Are we not falling into the dreadful trap that we fell into 10 years ago when we created the elitist BEE crowd, which have not had to do too much to become super rich in a very short period of time? We're falling back into that trap, sure.
Remember, we do have a checks and balances in the codes in terms of the new entrants, indicating that for a certain period for a certain amount of a threshold, if you are post that particular value or threshold, which is about 30 million of BEE transactions, then you are considered a new entrant. So any person who hasn't done a deal cumulatively to a value of 30 million, they are considered to be new entrants. So we're catering for a broader base and for the new entrants, for the new entrepreneurs.
But companies that have got staff empowerment schemes, you're telling them that's not good enough. You also need to get a fat cat into your scheme now as well. That goes against, surely, triple BEE.
All what we're saying there with regard to that, we're saying for those empowerment schemes, for those broad-based schemes, ensure that they invest, they get value at the end of the day. And the problem has been that most of these schemes are not getting value at the end of the day. They don't vest.
So companies have been cheating the system?
Absolutely. There's been a lot of circumvention. All what we are trying to guarantee is that there are criteria for getting value at the end of the day. And we need to have ticked all those boxes in terms of getting value.
Surely enforcement of the codes is more effective than adding more codes and changing the goalposts, because the goalposts have been moved here, haven't they?
As a policy makers and government, our responsibilities is to ensure that the condition of implementation of the policy is conducive. And we monitor that.
But you create the policy.
We monitor that on a day-to-day basis.
Yeah, but hold on a second. I need to clarify something. You're talking about it's your job to implement the policy, but it's your department that draws up the policy.
Absolutely.
Okay, so you're responsible for the original policy, not just its management. You guys have made a call, and that call is that companies where a big bank, for example, with 30,000 staff, half or more maybe black people, the empowerment of those staff is less relevant than me bringing in another Cyril Ramaphosa or a Tokyo Sexwale or a Patrice Motsepe.
Let's go back to the intention of BEE. It has been to ensure that black entrepreneurs participate meaningfully.
No, come on, you cannot be serious. So you're creating an elitist group. That's what you're doing. You're not empowering black people. You're creating a new elite.
When we talk about BEE, we're talking about the drivers, the black industrialists, the players, the key players in the day-to-day running of
business.
So
you're implementing the president's wish to get 200 black industrialists or whatever the number is, 1,000 black industrialists.
I mean, black industrialists are aligned to BEE and the industrialization policies, localization. Is that kind of
What
concept?
about triple BEE? Broad-based black economic empowerment.
Remember
this is going in the face of that.
Remember, the triple BEE covers the employees, covers the SMME, which has been widely covered through the enterprise and supply development, wherein we are saying goods and services must be supplied by your ordinary black suppliers in the procurement space. So it's been covered, but we've got a socio-economic development element within the scorecard, which covers your communities, your training, your assistance to local projects in the communities, which can then be able to add value. So the employees are also covered within the skills development, within the employment equity, which is within the BEE. So that's how broad it is. The communities are covered, people living in the rural areas are also covered.
One of the greatest criticisms of BEE and one of the greatest failings of BEE has been the failure of trickle-down empowerment. How does this change, this last-minute change, at the last possible second, snuck through without consultation? How does that affect it?
The point of the matter which I indicated is that we are not introducing new concepts.
But you're enforcing a bad old concept.
We're clarifying that, remember, the intention of BEE has always been. And if you look at the BEE scorecard on the ownership, we didn't change that scorecard. It still remained the same. All what we are emphasizing is that, remember, within that scorecard, from day one, we indicated that certain
Who pushed through this change? Whose idea was it? You said at a meeting, you're going, okay, guys, we got the codes, everything's right, everything's gazetted. Somebody at the table came up with an idea and said, listen, we need to reinforce the empowerment of individuals over triple BEE.
It's the whole policy development processes. Remember,
why did it happen at the last minute?
I mean, this is the window opportunity which we have in terms of clarifying, in terms of introducing the new codes. So anything which has been problematic, the loopholes which you have seen over the past 10 years, this is a window of opportunity of ensuring that we clarify, we provide guidance for a clear and smooth.
Why did it happen at the last minute? It feels surreptitious, it feels sneaky, it feels underhand.
I mean, this is the month wherein the new codes of good practice are being introduced, 1st of May.
But they're gazetted, they are law. If you fail to introduce, if you fail to comply, this isn't a debating chamber, this is law.
And interesting
you
enough
made the rules.
Interesting enough is that we didn't issue it on the very same date with the codes of good practice, precisely because it's a point of clarification. And if you look at the new BEE Act now,
but it seemed but see, the codes were going in a particular direction, and the codes were triple BEE, and it was all honourable, and everybody seemed to be in the same ballpark in terms of what the new guidelines would be around triple BEE. In the back door.
The minister has got an opportunity now to issue practice notes, to issue clarification notes from time to time to address some of the issues, clarification, to close some of the loopholes on an ongoing basis. And it's precisely that will be happening now, from now going forward. If we realize that there are a lot of challenges in one particular element, then the minister's got opportunity to be able to clarify that and provide
What kind
guidance.
of lobby group has forced this change? Because I can only assume that there's a strong politically connected lobby group that said, hold on a second, we don't feel like we're going to get an adequate slice of the pie of the future growth of the South African
Unfortunately,
economy.
not even a lobby group. We have got a public consultation process which include everybody.
But why is this, taking people by surprise?
So
why is this change?
All over the country, all the players in the economy, big business, multinational.
But why does this change take the industry, the verification industry, who know the codes almost as well, if not better, than the policymakers themselves, because their job is to intrinsically measure every single aspect of this?
They are appointed by the DTI, so before we appoint them, we make sure that they understand the code. So we give them guidance on how to measure BEE on an ongoing basis. So we're the custodian of the policy itself.
They say that this is anti the new idea of triple BEE. They say that this simply reinforces the old codes and will largely nullify some of the progress that's been made in the last 10 years?
Look, I think the message which we are giving out there is the intention of the policy, and I think that has been the problem out there in the implementation period. A lot of circumvention. We've seen a lot of number of BEE deals which try to circumvent the intention of BEE, and that's all what we're trying to clarify with regard to that statement.
But okay, so the new codes are in force. 1st of May, done and dusted. Yes. It is law. If you fail to comply, you will not get to do business with government, and you will be cast out into the business wilderness in terms of doing business with government and in terms of doing business with key suppliers to government. So you either comply or you don't play on the same field. We then go into an environment where the rules have changed. What is now the purpose of BEE? Absolute clarity.
Let me clarify the point of not doing business with government. Remember, BEE, there are a number of levels which you didn't have to comply, from level 1 to level 8, depending on which institution you're dealing with, or be it a private sector or state-owned enterprises. They will require a level of BEE compliance for them to be able to consider you to do business. So it's not about procurement only, but there are a lot of other activities which you can then be able to interact with different players within government and within private sector for BEE purpose.
Final word on clarification. What is the purpose of BEE as things stand today?
The purpose of BEE is to transform and grow this economy.
But only for an elite few?
No, for everybody.
But especially an elite few.
It's an inclusive policy.
I look forward to see how it turns out, and I certainly hope it doesn't pan out the way the last codes did. The Department of Trade and Industry's BEE Chief Director, Takalani Tambani, will be fascinated in your views this evening. You can tweet us, you can give us your feedback. What is your take on the future direction of BEE? There'll be more tomorrow. Till then, good night and goodbye.